going on, everybody? Today I'm going to show you how to reverse sear a ribeye. Come on back. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Barbecue Nurse. My name is Kyle, as always. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to reverse sear a ribeye. So when you think about reverse searing, it is exactly what it sounds like. Whereas normally when you grill on direct heat, you're putting the meat right over the hot coals and you're searing it right off the bat. Reverse sear means we're gonna let the steak slow cook for a little while until we get to the desired temperature inside. Then we'll switch it over and put it on the hot coals to get it to sear on the outside. So before we do that, let's go ahead and talk about the ribeye steak for a second. Me personally, I think it is the best steak out there. I think it's better than a porterhouse, which, don't get me wrong, I do love a good porterhouse. But if I'm going out for a restaurant and I want to order steak, I'm always going for the ribeye. The ribeye is the most tender, it's the most juicy, to me it's the most flavorful, and I love ribeye. It's the best. So where does it come from? Why is it called a ribeye? Well, ribeyes actually come from the rib section of the cow, hence rib. So the eye simply means that the steak comes from the center portion of the muscle that runs along the rib cage. That's called the eye. Okay, so that's why it's called a rib eye. Now, one thing you'll notice about ribeyes is they have a lot of fat running through the steak, a lot of good, what we call marbling. Okay, this is the fat that renders down when you cook it to make it moist and juicy and tender. Now, when you have two muscles like this that are separated by a big band of fat like that, okay, that band of fat is called a decal. So you're going to see this, every ribeye has one. You'll also see it in brisket, because that's the band of fat, that big band of fat that separates the cap from the flat. Okay, that's called a decal. This part up around here, I'm going to be honest with you, I forget what it's called right now. Should have researched it before I made the video, but oh well. This sometimes is also called the chef's cut of the ribeye. This is the part that usually doesn't make it out of the kitchen when it's being served, because this is the part that's usually being eaten by the chef in the back. All right, so today we're just going to do it super simple. All we're going to do is use some SPG, which all that means is it's equal parts salt, pepper, and garlic. Okay, obviously I'm getting low on some. I'm going to have to make some here in a little bit. So all we're going to do is we are going to season both sides, just like that. Kind of pat that down a little bit into the meat, flip it over, and we're going to do the other side. Just like that. When it comes to steak, I think people can overcomplicate things sometimes. I think with steak, keeping it simple really is the best way to cook it. Now, in future videos, yes, I'm going to show you guys how to, we'll get into marinades, we'll get into maybe some dry aging, whatever you want to do. But for right now, for simple backyard cooking, for a good steak off the grill, just some SPG and we're good to go. Okay, so now that these are seasoned, we're going to head out back, fire up the grill, and get it going. Come on. All right, let's light this candle, people. All right, so we're going to get our chimney starter. We're going to fill that up with some charcoal briquettes. Just like that. Now, in order to set your grill up and to do a reverse sear, you need to set it up for 2-zone grilling. If you don't know how to do that, click somewhere up in here to see my video on how to set your grill up for 2-zone grilling. Okay, so we got our grill set up for 2-zone grilling. As you can see, we got all the coals on one side. That leaves us with a side where there's nothing, and that's where we'll put our meat. So let's go ahead and get these things on. I also went ahead and closed my bottom vent to about halfway, and I got my top vent closed about halfway. Now we're gonna kind of slow cook these a little bit. So I don't want this thing getting raging, burning out of control. All right guys, so we're roughly about 10 minutes in. So what we're gonna do now, go ahead, open this up, and we're just go ahead and give them a little flip. These things are smelling delicious. But as you can see, they're nice and juicy. They're not overcooked. They're cooking nice and slow, which is exactly what we want. What I'm shooting for is an internal temp of about 120-ish, somewhere around in there. Because then what I'm gonna do, once it hits that temperature, we'll put it over here on top of the coals on direct heat so we can sear both sides. During that searing process, it's gonna be subjected to that high heat. It's gonna cause the internal temp to come up a little bit more. So that's why I'm gonna do it at about 120. Okay guys, so I apologize. I didn't get to show you the last half of the cook. One of my neighbors decided to walk over and start talking and not shut up. So I wasn't able to film the last part. So all I did was, I did one final temperature check and they were at about 123. So all I did was just move them from the indirect side over to the direct side above the coals. And then I just let them cook for about a minute or so on each side, so each side got a nice sear. After I was done, just pull that off, let it rest for about 10-15 minutes. Now it's time to cut into it. Let's see how we did. There we go. Nice, beautiful medium. Let's go ahead and taste this bad boy. Nice and juicy. Oh yeah. So tender, so juicy, very flavorful, very good steak. Guys, that's all I got for you today. If the steak looked good to you, go ahead and hit that like button. While you're at it, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. Ring the bell so you know every time I put out a video each week. All right, everybody, stay safe out there, and remember, support your local nurse.